heading back. Means ready. Made it to the ferry. Getting ready to head back. Oliver, say hi.
Hi.
What you doing? What are you playing? Ah! He's obsessed with that thing. Can't tell whether the impact is going to have on this group, but we'll see. Excited to head back. Okay, I'm back home. I got my Electro Voice RE20 broadcast mic set up, and I'm going to test it with some equipment, but also just taking care of a few scheduling things. There's a little bit of manual work in there, but I think in the yeah, it works better when we're all under the same domain. But yeah. I'm in a closet. That's a little office desk there. The background is not so great, but it's a cool working space. And definitely you gotta be creative in these times and just have working space anywhere and everywhere. So I'm prepping for a meeting tomorrow. It's gonna be bringing a team that's been working somewhat offline, online into Zoom. And we're trying to share just best practices in working on online meetings. And I think what we've been sharing is just slowing down, creating engaging activity. So much of this webinar content, online content, incredibly dull and boring. So how do you make it more engaging and make people want to participate? I think the newness and the impact of those Zoom gallery views is kind of over, because I've seen 100 of those now. Nothing special. So let's start figuring out more creative ways to making things work just differently. So let's figure it out. Of the screen, there's a speaker view, and then there's also a button with little boxes. That's called the gallery view. That lets you see everyone. She's running two computers right now, I think. One on her phone and another computer. Yeah. Heading back. We have a long 3-hour Zoom meeting today. Yes, I manage the technology side of some of these facilitated sessions on Zoom, and it is always just a little stressful because you got a lot going on and you don't want technology to get in the way, and it doesn't always work. So I think you just want to make sure we have a good experience for everyone. And I've been testing things out like crazy, and I know on the fly things will go wrong, but part of the job is to figure it out. So looking forward to it. I'm a little nervous, but I know we'll always come through. All right, get in the car very soon. Hey, welcome. Today I wanted to share how I'm going to put myself out of business from a PowerPoint perspective. Now, over the years, I've done a lot of PowerPoint work for different leaders and different people in my profession. And usually it requires a lot of custom work on my part of moving boxes and shapes around. Now, Microsoft has released this function called Designer, and it creates design ideas for you. So today I want to walk you through some of that functionality. If you're not already using it, you should be using it. Think of it as the word art of the day. Right now, I have just opened up PowerPoint, and PowerPoint is loaded in here. This is just the default stuff, so you might have a template, whatever you're starting on. I'm going to make a new slide, and let's pick title and content. So let's talk about how to design a slide deck. And in here, I'm going to have 3 points. Let's make it 1, 2, 3. 1, enter your content, have a good story, and 3, introduce some visuals. Okay, so you've entered in your content, and what you see over here, and if you don't see it already in PowerPoint, and make sure you have the newest version, if you click on the design in the tab, there's a new thing called design ideas. So click on that, and it opens up a window. And just by having just basic content right here, it is now giving me some options on different design ideas. And let's pick something for now. Let's say that one. And what it does, it tries to anticipate what content you have in here, so have a good story. It's guessing some of these icons. You may have to go in and change it just because this is just an AI technique. But let's custom add some of our images. So I am going to start with a really cool site that I like called Unsplash.com. Now, Unsplash is a source of free usable images. The images come from photographers like myself. So I upload a couple of photos into the site, and it gives you access to really cool images. So let's say right now we're in this COVID world. So we want to talk about work from home. And so someone here, you've seen some images here of people working from home. Looks like... let's see if we can find a good one. I'm going to shop around, find something that works well. I want to do kind of a broadcast studio setting here. So I'm going to click download. So what it does, it downloads into wherever your downloads are. I am going to go drag that image. There's my image. And so I just dragged it in, right? So from wherever your image file is, here's the image. And you'll see over here, Slide Designer now offers you some ideas. Personally, myself, I really like this kind of paintbrush masking effect that does over here. Really slick and cool. So you got to pick some of your styles. You might want something that's cleaner, like a clean circle, something like this. Or you want a full bleed design over here. So again, you don't need to be a designer. You don't need to be good at this stuff. You just need to be able to enter some basic content into your slide, find some images that's on the internet, and instantly you have produced some really high quality slides that takes designer time. And it might be a lot of work, but it's now super easy to do on your part. And so let's try another one. I'm going to see if we can demo another slide. Let's do just a title in. And so we just talk about work from home, finding our new stride. So this topic now is, let's say, finding a new stride. So again, you'll notice over here, by default, PowerPoint is kind of giving you some options. Now, I'm not sure if there's a way to kind of create a consistent theme or not. I do know that there is a way to custom tailor some of these design ideas, but that requires a little bit of development work on the back end. So that will take a little bit of time. I'm going to do a little more research and let you know on that part, because I'd like to custom design some ideas and build in my own styles. But for now, I think I always just when in doubt, rather than doing a generic plain slide like this or using whatever ugly template comes with your company's brand guidelines, start with that, right? So that's not a bad slide to start with. But let's take it to another level. So back to Unsplash, find your stride. Let's get an image of a runner. And I like just this cleaner look. It's just a generic shadow. I think in general, not a big fan of getting images of people, because then you're going to run into issues of gender, race, equity. Just you can get into a lot of trouble really quickly. So I like images that are somewhat neutral in its use. Okay, I'm going to drag it in. You got the image over here, and so now it's going to display a couple options. And you'll notice that the designer is the AI program there is trying to pick out the highlight of this content, and so it very accurately pulled out the content of the runner, which is perfect. Let's find a couple. So sometimes I like just going from like a full bleed. That's good for transition slides, right? So heading slides. Let's see if there's anything cool in here. Sometimes I like this gradient action that's happening here, but I think this one's good. So again, think of this as back in the day we had smart art, right? So this is in some form a form of smart art. So don't go overkill on this piece. Don't make your entire slide deck just like this. So use it as a way to break up your slide deck if you have a lot of content, or if you want to design just a cover page, a subsection page here. Now with this technique, I found that I can do a pass over on a slide deck in about 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so, about 20 slides, really quick. That gets me to 80% there, right? And so then I spend the remainder of my time, the majority of the bulk of my time, doing a custom framework graphic or anything that's specific that needs to be tailored a little bit more. Treat this as a way to just get your product closer to finish faster, and then over-index in your custom work on just one or two things that really makes a huge difference in your presentation. I hope this helps. I just wanted to give you just my perspective and view on this, and this is going to put me out of business. But if you are looking for custom work, I am going to start offering some of my custom time available. It's going to be through my membership program, 1980.io. Sign up for a membership. You'll get access to me at a lower billable rate, and I'm happy to support you throughout any kind of custom design work. But for now, these types of trainings will also be embedded into that program there. I'm going to show you these tricks, techniques, sources to get information, sources to get digital assets, so that you can be self-sufficient without spending too much design resources or time, because all this resource is free on the internet. I'm just going to curate all of it and make it easy for you to access. So again, 1980.io. I'll put a link down below. Hey, thanks so very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey there, you're sitting in front of Zoom meetings all day long, and you're constantly seeing the same camera angle. Messages, conference calls, phones, it's starting to all sound the same. And so we expect our leaders to deliver messages in much more engaging ways, rather than simply just staring at a webcam and speaking in. How do we change that? Let's find out. Hey leaders, I am now 100% convinced that you are all going to be your own media production companies now. Due to COVID-19, our comms teams are no longer able to work with you in person. And so I think what's going to happen is every leader now is basically their home media production team. You're going to need to be able to capture your messages at home in a much more dynamic way. Earlier you saw that Zoom communication, we're all staring at Zoom meetings all day long, and so you as leaders need to engage and inspire your people. And you need to be able to do that by engaging in more creative different ways. Start thinking about building on your own kit, doing media production at home. You can outsource the editing, and I'll talk about that in a little bit later. But let's make sure that you get your message out to the world in a much more engaging way. Now, if you remember the real world, some of us I think may have forgotten because we're on a virtual world so much anymore. Is the screen is really small in the virtual world, but in the real world, we get to interact. As a leader, you're walking around. You're not just standing at a screen staring like this all day long. And so how do you create a more engaging environment? I'm wearing a wireless mic. I'm moving around in my home office space here, and I'm trying to deliver a message. I'm using my whiteboard to talk about my message here, engaging my people, getting them excited about the future. Now, you're going to need some equipment, and we're going to talk about how to get that done. So I'm sitting at my desk in my home studio, and I've started to build out the space, which includes just a dedicated camera. I got a really nice podcasting mic here to record audio recordings. And I think it's important at this point to start considering the leader as their own media company. As you're communicating information, you can't just be doing Zoom meetings all day long. you got to create more engaging angles. Now imagine watching a video and it's at one camera angle the entire time. You would just fall asleep. No movie is like that. You can't watch a video or a movie where there's only one camera angle. And so because I have my own equipment at home, I'm not limited to just the webcam that's on my computer, but I can now put my camera on a tripod, different locations, move it around. I got really nice recording equipment here, like a podcast mic, but sometimes I want to be able to move around, especially as you're delivering your messages as a leader. You want to be moving around, creating some dynamic energy. Just sitting in one place isn't good enough. And so this camera is designed so that I can move around, create different camera angles. So it started out with a wide shot of the space, and then I ended up a little bit closer in my space, and I'm ending with a personalized message to my audience here. I implore you as leaders to start investing in your own digital equipment at home, a camera, a good wireless set of microphones, and a tripod. With that equipment, you can start producing better quality, raw images that you can send to the cloud and work with your production team to edit the videos. You can do it yourself. There's also people out there that can help. But the first important thing is capturing good audio and good video. With that raw set of ingredients, we can edit and stitch together the video that you're seeing here. Let's improve the game. I know story is probably the most important thing first, but production second. Let's do both, because I think our people deserve good quality communications, especially in this time, and they deserve better. Let's go do it. Hey, it's been a pretty good week. I got a lot of content produced, had a good meeting with some client work, reached out and talked to some people. I think this is probably next week is the week where I start getting that biz dev engine back running again. And I'd like to start having more conversations with more people. Just pack up the agenda and get it going. All right. We'll see you in the next week.